damn it. Now I'm laughing on camera. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Nightmare Road. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get ready to podcast. On this corner, we have from Parts Unknown, Decon. I don't have a nickname set up for me, so Decon. And on this corner, we have the very mysterious SOS with from, from the enchanted forest. And on this corner, we have the very chaotic Hey. And over here, yeah, that's a haywire. See, now you guys threw off my groove. And here we have Birdie. I'm kidding. And whenever there's injustice in the sky, we have Mr. Birdie Cuda. All right.
Oh my god.
I wish I was stillborn.
Decon and I were chatting this week. We finally, I guess we made it because we have hate mail.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
You have hate mail now?
Yes, sir.
We have hate mail now.
Yeah, I have a split personality disorder. You had a guy send a message saying that we're idiots and that, for believing, he's a professor, by the way, so he was professing his dislike for what we do. He's like, you guys are stupid, you guys are idiots, and I don't even want to get into it now because now the emotion has passed. And I was like, dude, you're almost 50. Why do you feel the need to talk to people this way? This is not how we behave. This is not how we talk to people. He was like, well, you guys are idiots and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, I asked him, like, well, have you ever been hit? And he said, no. And I'm like, this is why you think it's okay to behave this way. I mean, it sucks. I guess I kind of give you a pass if you're young because you're dumb. But, like, when you're almost 50, I mean, you should know better. So, it's whatever. It's fine.
Well, what I don't understand is why watch something if you don't...
Exactly. That's what I said. I was like, dude, if you don't like the show, you don't have to watch it. The show sucks anyway, so who cares?
It's called hate watching.
We do this because we love to do it. That's why we do this. We love to do it.
That's exactly what it is. I hate watch this show all the time.
Oh yeah. We have a good legend, and this was Birdie Cuda's idea. He wanted this topic, and then Decon did the artwork, and it's brilliant.
It sucks. But anyways, what's the story, man?
I think it's so cool.
Enough about the artwork. What's the topic?
So our topic is sorry, we have to put an old dog out.
Oh.
Go on. Nope, now he's not going out. Okay, never mind. Okay,
right.
So we are talking about springheeledjack.
Ooh.
Now, I had never heard about this until Birdie Cuda said, we've got to do this topic. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never heard about this.
Never.
So I never heard about this. So yeah, you? No. No. So, anyway, I thought it was interesting. And this is, I don't know, do you want to take this one there, Birdie?
Sure. So the story of springheeledjack started around in London in 1837. But 11 years before that, a man at a general store said he saw someone in a helmet and a cloak and some fancy clothes run across the road and jump a 9-foot wall just without trying. So that was the first sighting.
You know what I like to think? Here we go. Jeez, what the hell is that? I'm not even drinking. I would love
That's the problem.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would have. Maybe I would have loved to travel back in time just to kind of like listen to these people from London give a description. Like, so tell me, sir, what did you see? And they give him the microphone. He's like,
You froze. Decon froze.
no,
Decon froze.
I'm moving.
No, he's there.
I'm here. I just
Now you're.
okay. Anyways, I was doing my bit. So they're like, so tell us what you saw, and he's like, and there I was walking around, and I had my grocery bags, and I seen somebody jump a wall, and it was 14 3/4. I thought it was Harry Potter. I was like, Harry Potter's on the roof. They're like, look, oh, it's a Harry Potter. He's jumping. Did he go jump over Big Ben? Did he jump over Big Ben? And they're like, wow, sir, that was an amazing story. What else are you doing tonight? I'm gonna go eat some mushy peas and boil some steak. I have a good plan tonight.
Boiled steak.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's horrible. Anyways,
I think that's the spot on accent I've ever heard.
it was Harry Potter. Is that Doctor Strange? Anyway, that's it, guys. That's all I got.
That's how. Okay. So. Okay. Bernie. All right. So this guy saw this person saw this thing jump a 9-foot wall, right?
Yep. That's
Okay.
right.
And that was before, not 1837 or around 1837.
It was before in 1837, about 11 years before that.
Okay. And so then we go to, was that the only sighting and until we get to October 1837?
Yes, that was the only sighting until then.
Okay. So in October 1837, there's Mary Stevens, and she's walking to Lavender Hill, wherever that is.
It's somewhere
where
that
she
sucks.
was working. She was working as a servant after visiting her parents in Battersea, and Decon just fell. On her way through Clapham Common, a strange figure leapt at her from a dark alley. Okay? After immobilizing her with a tight grip of his arms, he began to kiss her face while ripping her clothes and touching her flesh with his claws. Okay? And according to her deposition, it was I guess the claws or the hands were cold and clammy as those of a corpse.
Yeah.
So
I got fondled. I was heading over to the pub, and it's the same guy. Yeah, and let's see. Now I'm going to interject again with not something that has nothing to do. I wonder how. Damn it! I was going to say how much it sucked in that era because you had people stealing corpses because medicine is coming along. People are. Ooh, that's a nice mug. Oh. Anyways, so you had people stealing corpses. People were sick. You had barbers / surgeons. People would get their tooth pulled at the barbers. So much going on in this era that I wonder how. I don't know. We'll continue. I'll continue this thought later. Sorry, now my brain's racing. But go ahead.
Yeah, death was prevalent way back then, and especially now that they were getting more automated with trains and mills and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, you risked injury or death every day when you went to work or even down the road.
Going to the doctor. I mean, for a broken leg, they would just take it off. And there was a man, and the surgery back then was done without anesthesia. It wasn't until also no type of sanitation until there was a man named what year was this? 1867, I believe his name was Dr. Lister, and after him we have Listerine, the mouthwash. It actually came from this guy, Dr. Lister, who was talking about how we should really wash our instruments after we do surgery, and everybody's like, why would you do that? They're just going to get dirty again. So you had people getting surgery done with dirty instruments, and then the next patient would come in, use the same dirty instrument. Also remember, at this time, it took a surgeon maybe up to 30 minutes to saw off a leg, um, until they started bringing in patents for automatic saws. A lot of the saws that, sorry guys, damn it, I'm sorry, but a lot of the saws back then were used with a crank. So you would take it, you would crank, and then they would go. And a lot of these patents failed. The first ever attempt at an automatic saw was used with a hand crank to kind of get it going. And then once the speed went up, the guy that was pitching this idea, this surgeon, accidentally cut off the fingertips of his assistants. So
Yep, I remember hearing that story.
So, anyways, we'll continue. Go ahead, Springheeledjack. I forgot. Sorry, guys.
So the dude or whatever fled the scene, and he could not be found. Right. So the next day, the leaping character said to have chosen a very different victim near Mary Stevens' home. Do you have that story, Bertie?
Yeah. Not too far from the Stevens home, Jack found a new victim, and it was a coachman driving a carriage down the lane. So he jumped in front of the carriage, spooked the driver and the horses. They had a nasty, nasty accident. The driver crashed. He got severely injured, and then Jack just jumped across the road and jumped over a 9-foot wall and disappeared again with the creepiest, cackling, high-pitched laughter that nobody's ever heard. So,
Bertie Cuda, can you please do the cackle, please, just so that we have an idea of what it sounded like. Let me write that down. Okay.
That's awesome.
That was amazing. I feel violated.
So, a public session at the Mansion House in London, 1840, a few months after these first sightings, on 9 January 1838, circa 1840, the Lord Mayor of London, Sir John Cowan, revealed at a public session held that an anonymous complaint that he had received several days earlier, which he had withheld in the hope of obtaining further information. The whole thing is very confusing to me, but it sounds like he believed that there was some individuals that were just playing a trick, right?
Yep. They wrote them down as pranks, as innocent, whatever the hell. And we need to also understand what was going on in that era. A lot of the people that were first attacked were people of the lower class. And back then, uh, the police force was more of private security for the wealthy. I mean, that's one of the main reasons why Jack the Ripper was never caught. It's not because he was so elusive. It's because he attacked prostitutes and no one gave a shit. I mean, why would you give a shit? I mean, well, now we would, but back then, no one cared. And they were saying that he was smart enough to attack only the downtrodden. If he would attack a person with prestige, there would have been an actual investigation. I mean, there was evidence everywhere. They knew who it was. They just didn't care. And Springheeledjack was attacking people that were of lower class, which is why they're like, these are just pranks,
Yeah,
and
not taken seriously.
I think they did try to tie it to a young upper class guy that was attending college that was getting in trouble quite a bit. So they had their eye on him and his little crew that he ran with.
The damn soccer hooligans.
Well, at one house, the man rang the bell, and a servant coming to open the door, this worse than brute stood in no less dreadful figure than a spectre clad most perfectly. I love yeah, right? The consequence was that the poor girl immediately swooned and has never from that moment been in her senses. So, I mean, she went immediately nuts.
She went crazy.
There's so much hysteria back then too, right? Like women swooned and then they were just, okay.
Yeah, I like
it.
Were women also tied up in corsets too?
What's
Yes,
that?
the course.
Weren't women tied up in corsets that
Oh,
actually crushed their lungs?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
So that's why they swooned quite a bit because they
yeah,
can't
yeah.
breathe.
yeah. I'm wearing one right now.
Well, the servants were in corsets,
Kinky.
but yeah, yeah,
Kinky,
yeah.
hell yeah.
Just stop
So,
that. Just stop it right now.
Do that laugh again. Ah, damn it. You guys fucking pay attention.
So the Lord Mayor was fairly skeptical, right? A member of the audience confirmed that servant girls about Kensington, Hammersmith, and Ealing tell dreadful stories of this ghost or devil. The matter was reported in the Times on 9 January and other national papers on 10 January. On the day after that, the Lord Mayor showed a crowded gathering, a pile of letters from various places, um, in and around London complaining of similar wicked pranks. So, well, but the story gets
That's
interesting about what this thing does or this person can do.
that's one hell of a prank.
So, yeah, so you talk about, I don't know which attack you were talking about, but um,
So, yeah, there was an attack, and I believe her name was Jane. But she talked about when she was attacked by someone, she had eyes that were like, or he had eyes that were like fireballs,
Mm.
vomited blue flames from his mouth. And someone ended up going to a bar that night and saying that he was spring-heeled and so they took him to court for it. But at court, he was like, well, no, I can't, vomit blue flames. And the court was like, yeah, that checks.
Yeah,
Like, you can obviously.
it's good enough. Get out of here, you drunk with your spring. He just jumped out of the courtroom with his spring heels. Jumped over that
Yeah,
9 foot wall.
Well,
and
like,
when
it's like, yeah, it definitely couldn't have been like he had some contraption or like your theory was really good. I really liked it.
well, I was thinking about if he had alcohol
Mhm.
and lit that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah,
But
and that's what I was getting at is that I was thinking about this a long time ago. I was thinking like maybe he knew somebody that was in a circus or a sideshow act, and he is either a fire fire eater, fire
Yeah.
breather,
Fire eater, fire breather.
and that's what he was doing because the women he attacked with the blue flames, they never got hurt, they never got burned.
Yeah.
mhm.
If you take, let's see. So there was a. Oh, damn it! Here we go. So there was a. So Kiss. You guys remember the band Kiss?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you guys? Yeah.
Gene Simmons.
Yeah, I was there. Oh yeah. How did that tongue thing go? Anyways. So I almost got pretty cool. Anyways. Most of their special effect was done by a guy. Well, there was a couple of guys. One of them was a man named Henry the Magnificent, and he did all of their special effects. And one of the things was that if you take sulfuric acid and you dilute it with a lot of water, and then you mix it with something that has a lot of ethanol in it, like moonshine, for example, when you mix those two things and you shake them violently, it actually produces a bright flash of blue flames. And it's so quick, like a flashbulb, that if you're not in contact with it for a long time, it won't burn you. So one of the theories that they had was that maybe he used these two combinations together just to produce that quick flame. And that's all it takes is you can use anything from a rag to a sponge, mix the two things, and then it ignites. That
Interesting.
that was chemistry with
So we're
decon.
looking at
Well, yeah, but
I don't have a
okay,
I
if
don't
it
have a
was
GED.
blue, I was going to say, yeah. I was
a
thinking
magician
phosphorus, but
and or
that's in the plant.
a engineer because why how could he jump so far?
Um. Well, one of my theories is that they had nothing going on, so he might have just jumped a small wall, and then people were like, "Well, we got nothing else going on in this country. I mean, everything does suck, and our food sucks. So maybe we're gonna exact. Maybe we're gonna.
I think, yeah, but there was
I'm
witnesses
still
say
on
that
the
he came over rooftops. That's what
I'm
I
still
don't
on like
understand.
a sideshow performer that somehow stumbled on how to make those springy feet
Heels.
things that kids run
Could,
around with
could
now.
you imagine
Yeah.
he's wearing high heels, and everybody can just like, "Do you hear that?" Just Springheeledjack. It's like, no, never mind. But false alarm, guys. It's just a hooker.
So 9 days after the attack on Jane, is 18-year-old Lucy Scales and her sister were returning home after visiting their brother. And he was a butcher who lived in a respectable part of town.
Ooh.
And yeah, and so in her deposition, Lucy said to the police that she and her sister were passing along Green Dragon Alley. Love that name.
Yeah.
I love it.
Hey,
And they observed a person standing in the angle of the passage as she was walking in front of her sister at the time, and just about up to the person they saw, he was wearing a cloak, which was not uncommon at the time.
Yeah.
So, but then he spurted a quantity of blue flame in her face, which deprived her of her sight and so alarmed her that she instantly dropped to the ground and was seized with violent fits, which continued for several hours. These women. Anyway.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah. Well, her brother heard the screaming and came running up. They took her home, and let's see, I think her sister described the assailant as being tall and thin and gentlemanly in appearance, covered in a large cloak and carrying a small lamp or bullseye lantern similar to those used by the police.
Yep, that's what I was going to say.
There's your flame. There's your flame to ignite whatever he had.
Yeah.
Right?
See, and
yeah.
And remember that.
What I find weird is that he's always dressed up in a black cloak, but he's got a white helmet and tight-fitting white clothes.
Yeah, like oilskin cloth is what they describe. That's interesting.
He's probably a man in black.
Statement.
Well, yeah, that too.
Oh.
He's Bizarre World Batman is what he is.
He's a freaking... What? Where's Voldemort? You know, like, what the hell are you talking about? Tell me where he is.
Yeah, I don't understand. So after these incidents, Springheeledjack became one of the more popular characters of this period. I don't know what it is. They had like plays which they named after Springheeledjack
and Penny Dreadfuls.
Penny Dreadfuls. The plays that were actually the place that they actually put was within a couple of months that these attacks happened, and then they were wondering why it flopped. And it's like, well, can you imagine if you're the victim of a crime that traumatizes you, and now somebody's putting on a play? It's so horrific. What's interesting is that they started putting stories in the Penny Dreadful, and they even started making up stories that he was fighting crime and all kinds of shit. So there's a lot of there's a conspiracy out there that Bill Finger and Bob Kane got their inspiration from the look. If you look at the very early Batman comic books, he looks just like Springheeledjack. He's got the cape, he's got the gun, he's got
That's what I said.
And you said that?
Interesting.
I said a Bizarre World Batman.
Dude, don't do that. but yeah, they started turning him into a type of superhero. So it's just very, like I said, there's nothing going on in London. So of course, somebody made this up.
Well, so then the attacks fade away, and then in 1843 they come back with kind of a vengeance, right?
Yeah.
So I guess there's a lot of coaches, a lot of more assaults against women, and I don't know. That's where they talk about this skin coat, like oiled skin clothing. I don't. It's weird that it rebounded, like it went away for a while. So you got to wonder: was he arrested on another charge somewhere? Did he go? You know what I mean? I mean, that's what a lot of times criminal behavior, right? So all of a sudden, attack stop. It's because the dude was arrested on a different charge. They get out of prison and then they start the same behaviors.
Yeah.
So
That sounds like a serial killer MO too. Is all of a sudden there's all these attacks. It just stops from like what 6 months to a year, something like that, and then they pick back up again.
It's so crazy.
But
I just
also at the same time, Jack the Ripper was running around London too.
When was Jack the Ripper? When was that?
It was around the same time.
wasn't it 1837?
A little towards the end of this little story. Yeah, he was running around downtown London.
So it looks like in the beginning of the 1870s, he was reported again in several places that were really distant from each other. And then in 1872, there was reports that in a state of commotion owing to what is known as the Peckham ghost, a mysterious figure quite alarming in appearance, they pointed out that it could obviously be no other than Springheeled Jack.
That's really interesting. I don't know. I don't understand the hysteria, but then we were talking about a book that I'm reading right now and the hysteria around that. There's a lot of hysteria especially in England over different things at this time.
Well, yeah, I mean, damn. If you look at England during the Victorian age, well, number one, we're gonna just get that out of the way. It's because it sucks. But also, like, look at what was going on. I mean, people were dying from diseases, so of course everybody was hysteric over everything. For a while there, they were even eating mummies, because they believed that it was such a cesspool, and everybody was dying from everything. People were always paranoid, so they even started eating mummies, believing that it was going to make them immune to all kinds of diseases, and even that was hysteria. So it was just the time. I mean, I don't think that, like, if I were to go to England now, I still think that it would probably suck the same. But especially back then, I mean, there was nothing going on. There was nothing going on. The what?
Yeah.
The boogeyman, like, that's how they would scare their children. Like, oh, be careful, you can't go out. So, like, anything bad happening, it's obviously going to be Springheeled Jack or the boogeyman.
Yeah.
So one of the sightings is pretty interesting, and this came in 1877, and it was when a group of soldiers saw him. There was a sentry on duty at Aldershot Garrison, and he saw the figure and challenged him and ended up firing shots at him with no visible, like, it didn't phase this thing at all. This guy or this thing.
He probably missed. I mean, again, look at the place we're talking about. There's a show out there. What is that? It was like based on in England, and they're like these gangsters from that era. You know what I'm talking about? It's on Netflix. I have no idea. But anyways, there's the videos on YouTube.
Peaky Blinders?
Yes.
What?
So it's Peaky Blinders. And I was watching clips of it on YouTube because, like, it's a popular thing. And they have this guy, and he comes out with a bolt-action rifle, and it's like, what's this guy? He's quite sure. And he's got his rifle, and he's shooting at a target that's like 20 feet away, and they're impressed. They're like, look at that, he's hitting the target. And I'm like, well, I guess that's impressive for England, but I could have made that shot when I was 2.
When did this happen? The Garrison incident?
So that's what I was getting at. He probably missed, didn't hit him.
Maybe 1877.
Okay.
And
people
said, the guy was just firing blanks. He wasn't firing really bullets. So why would he have a sentry on duty with blanks and a weapon?
Yeah,
muskets and rifles back then were highly unreliable.
Well, okay,
they were not accurate.
I challenged that opinion.
What was the opinion?
That I don't think that rifles of that era were that bad. I just think that it was user error. Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the Mosin Nagant. The Mosin Nagant is from around that era, and that thing's got I could hit something at 600 yards with no scope on it. So it's a user error. That's all it is. This sentry probably sucked, or he had blanks.
No. And so, I mean, that your shot's not as accurate at night. So, this guy obviously wasn't.
But look at the distance, too, and he had a rifle, right? Didn't they say he had a rifle?
Say.
I thought
It doesn't say.
I read somewhere that it was a long rifle. So, anyways, and of course he would also put sentries with blanks. Again, it's England. You can hijack a whole damn bus with a screwdriver.
You are really going to tick off our English viewers.
Who cares?
So, anyway.
Enjoy your boiled food. We beat you in
Anyway,
1776.
moving on. Let's see. So was there 40? Okay, so there's different memoirs and books actually written about Spring-heeled Jack, and I just 18. So this August 1877, he was seen by the soldier, and in the autumn, I don't know what that means, but it could be August, could be autumn. Spring-heeled Jack was seen at Newport Arch in Lincoln, Lincolnshire, wearing a sheepskin. An angry mob supposedly chased him and cornered him, and just as in Aldershot, which is the century, a while before, residents fired at him with no effect. As usual, he was said to have made use of his leaping abilities to lose the crowd and disappear once again. And then he shows up again in Liverpool in 1888. And then again in 1904 near William Henry Street. So this has gone how many years now? Where did we start at? 1837, and now we're at 1904. So I don't know. Is it just a succession of people who are doing this now?
I'd hope so. I mean, again, we can. I wonder if it's happening now. Like, if you interview somebody and they're like, "Where I was heading over to Mart, and I saw Spring-heeled Jack, and he's the one that killed John Lennon." And I don't know. Come
It
on,
sounds
come on,
like
SOS. Yeah, my accent is
it's
devolving. I get it.
Yeah.
It's
it sounds
devolving
like
as
a
I'm
Dread
losing.
Pirate Roberts.
It's devolving as I'm losing interest.
It sounds like a Dread Pirate Roberts type situation. Like one
Yeah,
person pulls it off for a while, and then they're like, "I'm too old for this. You need to keep it up."
passes the
Or
mantle
then,
like Batman. Now it's
yeah,
now it's your turn. Now it's your turn, my boy, to go assault women.
and barf flames into their face and make them have fits because we cool like that.
Don't forget your corset. Are you okay,
Well,
Keep
Haywire?
the
I don't
corset
know.
on too tight.
Haywire, you okay?
I'm great.
Okay.
Perfect.
So okay, I'm also trying to think back on what 1837, what's happening religiously, like in religion at this point. Is there anything going on? Because a lot of times these stories where it's the devil at play, it's like at the witch trials and all that, it was, because they wanted everybody to lead this really Puritan lifestyle, and it was very hardcore, and they used the fear of the devil a lot. And so, was there anything happening in this time frame, or is it just because London was so much of the population was gambling, and there's prostitutes and everything?
You know what's
It's
crazy is go ahead, Verticuda.
I'm gonna guess that is like very Catholic back then because everybody's all uptight. Death is everywhere. But yeah, I think it's Catholic. It was Catholic.
Well, yeah. So is it just I mean, obviously people are seeing something.
Yeah.
They saw something.
What I was gonna say is, or also remember that because of the way that medicine was moving around that time, they needed bodies and all kinds of different things. I mean, there were stories where so around that era, it was illegal for you to steal bodies of any regular person. You were only allowed to steal bodies. It was considered desecration if it wasn't the body of a murderer. So back then, doctors were actually paying people to go into cemeteries and steal bodies. So there's where we have things like the cemetery gun was a thing. We had a tripwire so people wouldn't steal your family member's dead body. So a lot of them were actually wear disguises so that people wouldn't know where they were.
How were they stealing the bodies?
Because they were at that time they were trying to figure out like how the human body works, and they weren't allowed to dissect human bodies. It was considered desecration. So the only way for them to practice their sawing off back then, if you broke your leg, they would just cut it off. They wouldn't know how to repair it. So when you started having I forget his damn name now, the guy that introduced ether into the medical field to put people to sleep, because back then when you got surgeries they would strap you down to a table and you were awake the whole time. There was theaters. People would come to, because there was nothing going on at that time. People would actually come and watch people get operated on. So you had this guy from America, because America's awesome, and he started introducing ether. Like, look, you could put people to sleep, and then we could do surgery. And they called it the Yankee scapegoat. They called it the Yankee option. It was considered dumb. Why would you put somebody to sleep? So when they started seeing how much better it is to perform surgery on somebody that's laying still, you know, how much more effective it is, they wanted that. But then ether wasn't in the country and it wasn't legal yet. So the best thing to do is let's steal a corpse and practice doing surgery. Okay. But because it was illegal, they would hire criminals. They would hire anybody to come over there and steal dead bodies. But because it was such a tight community, you didn't want. Here's what's awesome is that they would hire women to go to the cemeteries and pretend to be mourners, to be crying for somebody, but they're actually looking around for a fresh grave. And then they would go back and tell these people, we got a couple of graves. These people would put on a disguise. And it would be everything from a devil costume to mask to plague doctor costumes. And they would go and then start digging up the body just in case somebody saw them. So around that time, the hysteria was, damn, sorry, now my brain's going. There was even a time when people panicked so much that their relatives were going to be dug up that people started digging up their own relatives and took them home, you know, just so that no one would steal the dead body. A lot of the times, since grave robbing was illegal, they would strip the dead bodies naked, throw the clothes back into the hole, and just take the body. So again, the hysteria was everything. Everything was so overblown. Somebody's going to steal my family member. Somebody's going to do this. I'm going to die of an illness. So, of course, somebody wearing a costume, running around, you know, people were going to start saying shit like, it was a demon, it was a devil, probably because he was wearing a devil mask. So, you know, I don't know. That's my take on it. And that was History Lessons with Decon.
Well, it's a bizarre tale. I don't know. I mean, obviously, some people were seeing something. Women were being attacked. This went on for 60 years. I mean, if it's the same guy, he was awfully spry, you know? So, because now, you know what I'm saying? It's like, holy crap.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine him trying to attack somebody and his claws are just aiming down because they can no longer stand straight up, so people aren't as scared. And he's like, "Oh, Miss."
I just see like a creepy guy with claws around a walker chasing somebody down the street.
Get back here, Sonny! Don't you know? You know, and the flames just go straight down, sets himself on fire. That's the end. That's how I want to die.
Yeah, don't
set myself on fire.
Don't go out. It just goes like.
Yeah, it just goes. Yeah, he just falls asleep mid attack. Some people are like, "Man, you are old. You're falling asleep on me."
So some guy with arthritic joints is leaping over 9-foot walls, and I don't know. I don't. So it had to. I don't know. It's a succession of people who are doing this to scare people. I don't know for what purpose other than their claim to fame. You know, I guess. I don't know.
Nothing to do.
Just to be jerks because you're bored.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I guess so. The blue flame, obviously explainable, especially since there was a lantern involved and there's a flame source there. So I think, somebody, like you said, had some knowledge of chemistry a little bit. So they could have, who knows? But anyway, I don't know. I get frustrated with the tales of the women fainting and having convulsions and everything else. Come on now.
It's awesome.
I can't.
I
It just drives me bananas.
I like it.
But
I like
anyway,
things. Anyways, is that all? Is that all we got?
huh? That's it.
All right. Well,
That's it. It just all of a sudden the story's just he just disappears into nothingness. So
all right.
so well, I mean, at this point, he's 60, 70. He had to have been in his 20s to start, or around 18 or so, or 16. So he's like 80 years old.
80 years
So he
old.
died.
Yeah. Holy shit. Mr. Burns is over there chasing people.
In England, then
Yeah. Damn. That's All right, guys. Look, thank you guys for tuning in. This was Nightmare Road, guys, and thank you so much for the support, for the likes, for the comments, for the shares, for all that good stuff. I almost said for this horrible show, but the show's not horrible. It's a good show. It's entertaining. We have a really good crew here, so just thanks, guys, for all that kind of stuff. Tell everybody you know. A stranger attack that person, then tell them about the show, and it's like, this is what happened in the 1830s with Spring-heeled Jack. I thought that I would attack you just to kind of demonstrate, and you should check out this episode. So, no, don't do that. We could be liable for lawsuits. So,
yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't do that.
don't do that. So, anyways, thank you guys, and that's it. So remember, guys, to always look both ways, especially if you find yourselves on Nightmare Road.
Bye.
I'm not waiting.